So really, most of these guys, okay, all that's different between them is summer. Okay, and most universities, most top universities do not have summer courses. So I know they didn't study. Some of them, yes, maybe they got a summer job, but mostly they've went through a 4-year grueling program. They'll take that summer off. Some of them might intern, but some will take it off. But in any case, they haven't gotten any formal training. Okay? And the projects are night and day between the two. And the only difference that I can see is the psychological notion that they've gotten a degree. They've gotten that paper. They've gotten that bachelor's degree. They are now a formal engineer. Then what happens? They become a little bit more reserved.
More reserved.
Because it's much more riskier now for them to fail as a graduate student, because now they have the title. Right? It's the same notion that if you have nothing to lose, you're going to risk it more.
Right.
Now as a graduate student, you have a reputation that you're a graduate student. Right? So their projects are a lot more subdued, a lot more theoretical, and not as bold. Oh yeah, oh I had much more fun in the undergraduate class. The most difficult part for me in the undergraduate class, and which is actually the most difficult time for them. Because one, there's no other class like this in the department, so they don't know what this is like. They come in, and in 3 weeks, by the 3rd week, they have to submit a proposal in which most of their grade is based on. And they don't even know what the class is about. So they have the toughest time. My only caveat to this whole class is that the project you built, okay, has to work.
Has to work.
Oh, of course, it has to work. You're going to be an engineer. You're not going to design something to fail. So whatever you design, it has to work. Okay. The other thing is, don't go looking at a textbook. I don't even allow them in this lab.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't allow them until the proposals are all written through. Okay? And I'll tell you why. I don't allow them in here. So what I tell them, and the other thing I tell them is, oh, come on. You know, do not sit there and pick a theory out of in a book. If you like the theory, then yeah, it's okay. But what you want to do is pick something that you are passionate with. Something that you have passion. Okay? If it's something that's outside, and then I'll have people that bring their musical instrument in here. Okay? And they'll build a robotic musical instrument device because they like music. Or they'll get something that'll automatically tune a guitar. Or a robot that tune a guitar. A robot that plays music, what have you. And then the robot part really comes later. And then some of it they know that this is a robotics class, so they do know that. And the reason that I say to do something out of the passion with this, because I went through, I literally took the equivalent of this class. Right? So I've been on that side of the bench. Right? So I know, okay? The reason that I tell them to pick a passionate thing is that if they have a passion for it, what happens is that they'll look at that clock and they'll say, oh my God, it's 6 in the morning. I have class in an hour. Bang, where did the time go? Versus, oh man, 6 in the morning. I've been here for 8 hours, right? It's a very different attitude between the two. And that's only because they pick. The other one is self-preservation. Oh. Right? Come the end of the semester, I'll say, you picked the project, not me. I didn't give you this project, so don't blame me for this harshness.
Oh, so through your experience as a lecturer here and as a student.
Well, mostly as a student.
Yeah. And do you know about education systems, and probably in the engineering department in Indonesia? Have you ever researched or heard about that and the difference and the challenges? And if you were asked or invited by the government or by any institutions in Indonesia, would you accept?
Man, is there enough battery on the video camera for me to answer this one? Actually, if they were to ask, okay, and then I'll qualify this answer with sort of a caveat before the scene. But if they would ask, I would answer yes in a microsecond.
Oh,
okay. I wouldn't even think twice. I would answer yes. But there's a caveat to all of this. Okay, and that's because even from the beginning, okay, my sole purpose, okay, once to get a degree is of course to satisfy my dad. That's really the back part of all of this. But the side effect of it was to benefit Indonesia, no matter what. Even as I was going through here, okay, that was always in the back of my mind, is that was to grab the education, grab the technology of here, and then have it benefit for Indonesia. Why? I'm an Indonesian. Why should I benefit this country? Okay? And that's all. It's the same thing with teaching. I am educating, okay, huge numbers of Americans. There are other foreigners who in the 4 years that I've taught, I've only had 2 Indonesian students in my courses. Okay, one of them is going through it now. It's the second time he's taking a second class with me. Okay, and of course there's some pride in teaching Indonesian, and my hopes is that he will take some of this technology back home to do it. The caveat to all of this is, yes, I would answer yes. But there is a given condition, okay? The only reason that I teach here, okay, is because of this facility, okay? The computer programs that I use in here, okay, I get from National Instrument before even it's released to the public. The students here are exposed to the state-of-the-art technology. We had LabVIEW 8.6 while the industry is still on LabVIEW 8.2. Okay, and they're sort of catching up. Now the industry has 8.6, but my students are going out with 8.6. I refuse to give them tools that are behind the time. In engineering, you cannot. I am not going to train people for the purpose of grabbing a salary. I am training them so that in the hopes that they far exceed what I can contribute to the world. I mean, obviously, right? I mean, as a student, I have not done my job if they do not exceed my knowledge level. I have done a poor job, if that's the case. I expect all of my students to be better than I am. That is what my expectation is. Then I have done my job, right? So then what happens? Then in a small percentage, I have leveraged my skill set. Because if 60 students have done better than I have, never in the world will I accomplish better than 60 people. I have leveraged my then from a little bit, right, of contribution sort of point of view. Now they may not, okay, they may not be the next person that cures cancer or what have you, but indirectly, right, hopefully that they have marched the world to a better place, and that's really what we are all doing here. But the problem is, look at all these infrastructure that's here. I can't teach any other way. There's absolutely no way. In engineering, you can. Then I'm just fooling myself. I can't sit there and teach in textbook. That's not the type that I'm teaching. So that's the only caveat, right? Is the infrastructure in place in Indonesia? Then also the topic that I teach, which is real-time programming, okay, which is automation. What are the students in Indonesia going to do with that knowledge?
Oh, you're talking about something big here. I mean to say, which probably Indonesia is not ready.
Well, I don't know if they're not ready, but they have to answer that question. Right here is not a problem. I know what applied materials needs. I know what the national labs need. I know what they need in terms of skill set. Not exact, but some of the skill sets to prepare my students to get a job. As far as I know, I don't think any of my students have not gotten a job yet. Not solely because of me. Okay, but I've had, you know, where I get the gratification, the students sit there and go, hey, you know what, in my interview they asked exactly what you brought up in class, and I was able to answer it. Then I said, yeah, okay, I've done my job.
Well,
right?
Very good.
But so the problem in Indonesia is that, yeah, so here at least if I'm training, I know that these kids can go out. So the other aspect is, okay, I can do that too. I can train in Indonesia if I know there's an infrastructure where all the Indonesian students can come to the United States and get a job. But then what good is that going to do to Indonesia as well? Right? At least this is from when I visited there. When I visited there, I did not see that the infrastructure was sort of there. Now, it is, you know, and the problem is just the engineering type that I'm teaching. Okay? If I was in the oil business, that might be a different story.